seen us on the background doing the dance, you'd have been shocked. There's skills. You know, these are skills for people like us. In the 60s, in the 50s, I mean, this is the kind of song, okay? When we get onto the dancing floor, we show the people the skill. With twist, we can do everything. You know that. Yes.
We're happy. I mean, it's Wednesday. It's the 1st of August.
Yeah.
You know, the 8th month of the year. We're happy. We're happy that, in spite of the fact that an MP said that he had to sign and endorse the John Mahama list because he thought it was some parliamentary attendance sheet.
Look,
it's okay.
It's okay. A new man
okay.
has started. God has seen us through. It's a new man. That's why we're excited. And we're going to be excited throughout the month of August. You know, this is a month that there's a lot of food because the festivals are on. From the Ghana traditional area through the Fantiland, everywhere you go, there are festivals all the way through September and October. It's a beautiful month. Just stay there, be cool, but hey, get excited. It's August. All right.
Yep.
Because, and we'll be going to the Western region.
We will.
To be checking out, I mean, what they make of the 94 MPs who have endorsed President Mahama. And by the way, there's an MP who said he thought he was signing an attendance sheet.
Johnny, allow him to go.
It's part of the few MPs who say, no. So the Mary deal comes, no. He doesn't know what to say.
But we also talk about kidney stones for health, and so people should stay tuned. At least find out what it means to have a kidney stone.
There'll be stones in your kidney.
Yes, there will be. Just as the name simplifies. And how do you even get the stone there? Something people
do people
have
swallow
to know.
stones?
No.
Okay.
No, but some children would naturally swallow something of which a stone may be part. But that's not how that stone gets into the kidney. That one, you may poop it out.
Yeah, because someone told me that African gems are not harmful at certain points. Like of your age, African gems are not harmful.
Your body is used to it. It's not that they're not harmful. It's just that you just develop resistance to them. But
all right.
That's what we have here.
The package is going to be exciting. A lot, all that plus the newspapers, and also will tell you we'll smash the whole thing with some exciting tunes here and there. Sports will also come up, and very, very exciting this morning. And of course, we're told that today is hunting ban is starting. And in 3-4 days time, the
fishery ban.
So all you'd eat will be grass.
Yes. Oh no, but I'm sure they'll store some.
They'll store it.
Yeah. Because
but bird flu too is here. I mean, like, in this time, we're just going to try and be happy. Whether I like it or not. So you can try to be vegetarian or vegan in this time.
But you see, on Saturday, the Lantejan were folks will be having the homo walk.
Very Saturday.
There's a ban on. There's going to be a ban on fishing, the close season.
3 days.
So and we don't have the bumper harvest.
All
maybe
their
they'll
fish
have to
before.
use
what is going to happen is that we are going to eat quickly this year without fish.
Yeah, they will use otrin.
You eat. I'm sure there's fish being stocked up somewhere. They're making preparations for that time, so don't worry.
Okay.
Just go and taste it. You'll see the fish is there, so don't worry. Don't
you drive a luxurious car,
3.0. No.
You will be in trouble.
He has packed that one just because the luxury tax has been
removed. The moment the finance minister announced, I decided to go and look for a small one, just to stay.
You know, it will be difficult for rich people to go to heaven.
We still have Tico in the system.
Oh no, you see, you are paying 35%.
Yeah.
You know, if you earn more than
on their income,
the pastor will take 10%. That's 45%.
Right.
We'll be left with 55%. Papaya buffalo, you know.
Indeed,
I think
people will be very, measured in how they go.
Even now, papaya abafom dada. So we hope. I mean, but let God touch your heart. Still be generous.
But yesterday, no one picked the check. I don't know.
So, Massa.
The contract.
Were you available?
Well, I was, but no one came up. So
indeed, when you put caveats to it, that no one.
All right, so time for news. Grace Hamuasari is joining us very soon. She has a lot of news this morning. And she will let us know why government says that, hey, hold on, the Mary deal isn't concluded yet. She'll tell us. News is up next.
Grace Hamwa Asari.
Good morning. Welcome to the news on New Day. My name is Grace Hamwa. Sorry, let's start from the Supreme Court because the Supreme Court of Ghana has dismissed an application seeking an injunction to stop the president from going ahead with the process of appointing a new Electoral Commission chair. The court noted that the Constitution in Article 22 makes provisions for remedies for a reinstatement if the court determines Charlotte Osei's removal as unconstitutional. Reports by Godfred Tanam.
An interlocutory injunction filed by a private citizen, Fafali Nyunato, at the Supreme Court sought to restrain President Akufo-Addo from appointing a new chairperson of the Electoral Commission until a substantive suit challenging the removal is determined by the court. Earlier, Fafali had filed a suit at the Apex Court challenging the legality of the processes that led to the removal of Charlotte Osei. The plaintiff in a substantive case claimed, among other things, that the committee that recommended the removal of Charlotte Osei and her two deputies exceeded its jurisdiction by defining the scope of application of provisions of the 1992 Constitution, including Articles 44(2) and 146. She indicated the committee acted in violation of Article 130A by usurping the exclusive jurisdiction of the Supreme Court to interpret the provisions of the 1992 Constitution. The president, irrespective for the suit, went ahead to appoint Jane Mensah as the new Electoral Commission chair. The ruling on Tuesday, July 31, saw a 7-member panel unanimously dismissing the interlocutory injunction application. Godfred Tanam, TV3 News, Accra.
Now, a group calling itself Concerned LLB graduates have petitioned government to decentralize the federal system of law school education in the country. According to them, the Ghana Law School alone is not enough to facilitate the tutorage of the teeming number of law students who graduate from the various law faculties every year.
The group under the umbrella name Concerned Law Students reiterated the Apex Court's judgment. Spokesperson for the group, Ni Adokwe Kojo, described the group's position as one not intended to incite rebellion, but seek a peaceful redress to the situation.
We believe that with the evidence that speaks for itself, they will be minded to do what is deemed fit. We will not dictate whether they should cancel the examination or otherwise. But we believe that at the bottom line is that the nobility of this profession and the process leading to it should not be compromised.
A leading member of the group, Taria Foster, proposed other alternatives the General Legal Counsel could explore.
So there is a provision in the Act that allows private universities to also take part in training students for the professional exam. So we understand they are constrained with their space. We don't care, but let them give us the opportunity to study in our own comfort and rewrite the bar exams. That is what we are calling for.
Over the past months, some law students who failed the Ghana Law School entrance examination have cried foul, demanding an explanation from the General Legal Counsel.
So let's go to fisheries now, where some fishermen in Cape Coast are threatening to engage in criminal activities during the close season since they have no other means of survival. According to them, several appeals to government to provide an alternative source of livelihood for them have not yielded any results. Adjoa Adobia Owusu has been interacting with them.
The Ministry of Fisheries and Aquaculture Development has taken a decision to close the sea to all forms of fishing activities to address the depleting fish stocks in Ghana. The decision to close the sea in August, according to the ministry, is based on a scientific research that indicated that major spawning takes place around that time. Hence, continuous fishing could be damaging. Even though the leadership of the inshore canoe fishermen have assented to the ban, some fishermen are not happy. In the central region, the fishermen say they are not ready for the ban as they have no alternative means of livelihood.
For the banning, we understand, but we would not get money to pay our loans, nor take care of our children. It will affect us.
They want government support as the ban takes effect.
Still in that sector, by this time in the Western region, some fishermen have started leaving to neighboring countries such as Cote d'Ivoire and Liberia to avoid the closed season, which starts from August 7 to September 2. Correspondent Irama Smith visited the Sekendi landing beach and has filed the following reports.
I'm at the Sekendi beach and business is very brisk here. Some fishermen have returned from sea and I can see some sharks, some mackerels all here. They are selling their stock to the fishmongers. Barely a week from now, all of this will come to a halt. Why? Because of the ban on fishing by government. I'm here to find out their alternative means of livelihood. Are they looking at other options or they are going to wait until the ban is lifted, then they return to work?
If things have turned out this way, they should speak to our various banks so they wouldn't charge us extra interest within this 1 month period. As fishermen, our only source of livelihood is the sea. We cannot rub shoulders with government once they said there should be no fishing. As a result of this ban, many may resort to stealing. We all live to see.
I sell creams here. I make either 200 cedis or 150 cedis. I don't get it like this when I sell outside the shores.
I've only made plans to leave for Cote d'Ivoire. If I stay in Ghana, my mom and I will get hungry. Those leaving for Cote d'Ivoire are many. Beginning next week to 6 August, there wouldn't be anyone left. Almost everyone is traveling to Cote d'Ivoire. When you get to our hometown in Esima, every family is leaving for Cote d'Ivoire. From next week, there wouldn't be more than 100 people there. Over here in Sekendi, drivers will not get access to passengers as most have left for Cote d'Ivoire, Liberia, and Sierra Leone.
When you buy your fish and you want it to be smoked, then they take it, clean it up, and then smoke it for you. I'm going to find out from her what their preparations are also towards the ban.
We've not made any preparations as we are just laborers. When someone buys fish, they give it to us so we can scale off and smoke, and we get paid for that.
It is obvious that these fishermen are not prepared to lay down their tools. They will rather migrate to neighboring countries like Ivory Coast, Sierra Leone, and Liberia. Well, the coming weeks will tell whether the Fisheries Enforcement Unit of the Marine Police will have a cordial relationship with them or will hunt them down. Reporting from Sekendi Beach, Irama Smith for TV3 News.
And now, the Minister for Fisheries and Aquaculture, Elizabeth Afolekwe, says government will go ahead to place a ban on fishing despite opposition to the directive. Speaking on 3FM's morning show Sunrise on Tuesday, the minister said alternative livelihood measures are being put in place to mitigate the effects of the ban on fishing.
We have done a lot of consultations. There are those who are of the view that we shouldn't start it now. There are those who are of the view that we should we should have started in May. There are those who are of the view that we should extend it to or send it to next year. The decision to do this close season in August emanated from the fishers themselves and also from the research work that was done. So we had to align what the fishers had told us with what the researchers have also presented to us to come up with the August close season. I am a daughter of the soil. I was raised to respect my elders. I cannot go out there. I have never stood on any platform to say that fishers should go out and pick plastics. I never said that.
Moving away from fisheries now, a former Minister of Trade and Industry, Ekos Fiogabra, says government is not doing enough to resolve the current impasse between foreign traders in retail business and the Ministry of Trade and Industry. He spoke exclusively to my colleague, Ebenezer Ajekum Boateng. We'll bring you this story in our subsequent bulletins. You're still watching the news on midday, on New Day on TV3. Let's do some other stories now. The Ghana Revenue Authority, GRA, will begin to charge high engine capacity vehicles effective Wednesday, August 1, 2018, and that's today. Under the new tax regime, vehicles with engine capacity of 2950 cubic centimeters and more are required to pay respective levies, according to the GRA in a release. The Driver and Vehicle Licensing Authority, DVLA, is authorized by the law to collect the levy on behalf of government. Now, Deputy Minister for Information, Kojo Nkrumah, has dismissed the minority assertion that government's agreement with Sino Hydro to finance infrastructure is a loan. At a press briefing held in Accra, the Deputy Minister said the first phase, with his sum allocation of $500 will be geared towards urban roads development.
The Ghana-China Sino-Hydro deal is a master project support agreement signed between the Government of Ghana and the Sino-Hydro Corporation of China. The deal basically stipulates that Ghana provides for the said company 200 billion cedis worth of refined bauxite, and they, in turn, will fund with $2 billion Ghana's major infrastructural projects. The first phase of the project, which is centered on urban infrastructure development, will be undertaken with a sum of $500 million. Work is expected to begin at the latter part of this year. Deputy Minister for Information explains some benefits Ghana stands to gain from the deal.
The President has been speaking extensively about Ghana Beyond Aid, getting Ghana to a point where we're able to use our resources to finance the things that we desire. By working out this arrangement that allows us to refine our own bauxite, a ton of refined bauxite or a ton of alumina is trading around $300 per ton. And you can therefore see in this joint venture arrangement, depending on what our stake is, how much of that we are accruing. So it will come with significant job creation in many parts of the country when these projects start up, and it will open up the beneficiary sectors of our economy.
The Deputy Minister for Roads, Anthony Carbo, said the deal will help create easy access routes for farmers and other traders in deprived communities.
We are preparing in Greater Accra. They are meant to ensure that we have a smooth and easy flow of traffic within the city without necessarily causing any congestion in the city, but allow for free flow of the traffic. And these roads are quite detailed. I'm sure you would have noted that in the phase one, many of the projects are urban related. They are in the urban centers and they are spread across the 10 regions of Ghana.
Let's now go on the international front, where China's Huawei Technologies, HWTU, overtook Apple Incorporated to become the world's second biggest smartphone seller in the June quarter data from market research firms, as it gained ground in Europe and expanded its lead back home. The estimated rise in market share comes as a slowdown in the world's biggest smartphone market, China, eased. Huawei has also managed to get ahead of rivals by selling more feature-packed phones, analysts said. Huawei is shifting to more value-added models by launching new flagship smartphones with the latest features. Huawei's P20 Pro is the first flagship smartphone model to be equipped with triple cameras, beating competitors to market. IHS market analyst Gerrit Scheeman said in a note, according to IHS and Strategy Analytics, Huawei grabbed more than 15% of the global smartphone market over April-June, overtaking Apple's roughly 12% and just behind Samsung Electronics Company Limited's nearly 20% share. That's all for now. My name is Grace Hamas. I will be back with more after this break. Don't go away.
All right, welcome back. Daily Guide says Supreme Court throws out suit over Charlotte to say somebody was challenging
the eligibility of that nomination by the president. Well, it's been thrown out by the Supreme Court. 217 companies evade 666 million Ghana cedis worth of tax. Kennedy Japan punches Anas. Bato SHS headmaster in sex scandal. And MPs blackmailed to endorse Mahama. And Mr. Nabu Joseph, MP, says he thought he was signing an attendance sheet. Interesting, isn't it? On to our next newspaper for today. The Daily Heritage says, Ken Anas battle rages as lawmaker threatens to boycott court proceedings. Regulate public prophecies on death. Reverend Isaac Opoku tells Christian Council and Chief Imam. How are they going to do that? Agona East MP empowers new executives for 2020 elections, and Ghana Water Company Limited reacts to false reports about board decisions. Osea Mayal's comeback will spell doom for MPP, and Ghana doing well in fight against human rights, says the UN. Okay, we're here. On to today newspaper. Supreme Court throws out injunction against president for nominating EC chair and will make police better by using technology. PPP activist Raymond Asifua says so. And parents throw out girl 15 for having too much sex. And Huofe, Patricia empowers girls. The ladies are on vacation. JSS candidates are done with their exam, so parents might want to keep an eye on them. The Finder newspaper, 13.2% rise in port revenue in first half of 2018, partly due to single window system. Ghana sowing seeds of debilitating conflict. Professor Boche and Ghana Water Company condemns smear campaign against board chair, and injunction suit to stop appointment of new EC boss dismissed. New Ameri deal inconclusive. Opong Nkrumah suggests. Okay. The Ghanaian Times says, killing of 7 suspected robbers. Government probes police shooting. 5-member committee giving 1 month to present report. There was another 2-week report for the police officer who asked that the child be beaten. We are waiting for it. Supreme Court dismisses application against appointment of EC chair, and luxury vehicles levy takes off today. Paperless port system half-year revenue hits 5.8 million Ghana cedis. That's a lot of money. Daily Graphic, perhaps the last one for today. Cost of borrowing drops. Stanbic base rate down from 24 to 16%. And suspend SHS double intake education coalition suggests to government. And Ghana faces housing glut despite deficit. Okay. So those are the front page stories that you have it. Right. Interesting. I don't know where to begin.
Yeah, we can borrow more.
But you know, concerning the
borrow more.
Yeah, we're told that the cost of borrowing is
well, it's just one bank that has dropped it.
So perhaps it will compel the others to also go down. 16%. Good news, if indeed that's the case. Sometimes you get to hear of the rate, but when you get inside, you're told all manner of stories. So let's see how it goes. But it is good that the interest rates are dropping.
Certainly. But I mean, I would like to talk about the police shooting and the investigations that have gone on into that. But beyond that, also talking about the fact that some policemen who are killed in the line of duty, this is not the first of such incidents. We've had many. And the question we asked was there going to be a fund for policemen when they die? And how is it that the police system will cater for them? Because this seemingly happened, one happened around the time of, you know, Captain Mahama's demise. And we saw how the, let's say, the military handled that particular one. And for his case, there was a fan set up, and we're asking, could it be spread to other institutions in uniform? Because we don't want a situation where it becomes like you're cherry picking on who could be, you know, buried in a particular way, or whose family should be taken care of and whose family should not. I'm looking at a country where we're so concerned about the people in uniform because they also, you know, live up to the duty. Yesterday, I saw a video of a police dog who died in the line of duty, haven't served so many years, and they had a state burial for a dog. You know, when a country is so concerned about its people and even the animals who serve them, it gets you worried about your own country. When you serve, you've given your whole life to service, and you die, what kind of burial are you giving? Is it a befitting one? Do they recognize what you did when you lived, or is just one of those things that will be carried in headlines and we forget about it? I think it's high time we start talking about that.
They view those guard dogs as policemen. You know, so they also have their ranks and they are respected as they climb up. But rightly, as you said, I'm looking at a case where the 1 month duration that's been given to the committee will perform its duty. You remember that the district commander, the DSP of is that Obey or something? Right. Well, yes, who directed that the 14-year-old boy be whipped. You know, some 2 weeks was given for the investigations to go on. I really hope that we will get to the bottom of some of those things, because if you look at what's happening in Asawasi now, the youth are angry. I mean, if you have a relative who's been, transferred there to go and work as a policeman, you're clearly endangering the person's life. So let's bring finality to these things. I hope that we're able to do so. But yesterday at the DVLA, I saw that there was a mad rush. Yeah, people wanted to skip the the start date. So yesterday, some persons with luxury vehicles, were able to register.
But I mean, your year will come up, you still renew, exactly. And so if you were in course this year, you certainly will be captured.
Maybe they'll save some money for the interim. And somebody put on Facebook that, well, he went there and they said the machines were not working, so he was so agitated. And I said, slow down, man. If it will work, it will work.
It will.
You know, but some people are also questioning why Parliament okayed this. They are thinking, what exactly is good? Because clearly, I mean, if I run a construction company, and by virtue of the work I do, I will have to travel to the hinterlands, and I go and buy a 4x4 cross-country vehicle. It is not necessarily luxurious. I am buying it because I need it for work. I'm not buying it because I have too much money, I don't know what to do with it. So if I'm now being charged for luxury, as opposed to me trying to keep body and soul together and try to spread and employ people, then there's a question somewhere. I think that we need to look. The exemptions that we got from it, ambulances and commercial vehicles and all of that, I think there are budding construction companies who are already overburdened with taxes. And we need to start looking at some of these things out to help.
I mean, you mentioning that just brings to mind that not every vehicle, it may not even be a construction company, it just will be someone's regular car, their everyday take-to-work car. But then the fact that maybe where they stay, the roads are not accessible enough and they need some vehicle in that manner, it may seem like a luxurious car then, but really the purpose for which it was bought was not the luxury of it. And so maybe seemingly as time goes on, laws are made, but then of course, I'm sure we will look at it and amend them to suit what we have in country so that all Ghanaians would at least be willing to pay this tax, I mean, freely.
Well, let's see how it goes, but I mean, government effort at raising revenue, I'm sure we need the money. So,
but government is making
money. Find a way out to
government is making money from the pot, so 13.2.
So yes, so there's a rise in port revenue.
Right, it's not just about making the money; it's about the usage of the money. I think this thing cannot go down without us mentioning it. We're happy. I mean, my problem is if people willingly would even go and pay this luxury vehicles tax or levy, knowing how hard it is for people to come up with money nowadays, no one likes to part away with tax. If we give you the money willingly, we expect the government will also live up to expectations and deliver on its promises and make sure the citizenry also benefit from it. That's what I think the whole consensus is about. And we can't say a time without number, because I don't see why I should be willingly paying my taxes and yet the very road I use is riddled with potholes and literally manholes. You fall into it, you spoil my shocks, spoil my tires. I need money to fix all that. And at the end of the day, I'll come back to pay you tax and you put it in your pocket. You go and get V8s for yourself. You know, enrich yourself. I think that's where we have an issue. Everyone should do their part and would all be happy.
I agree. I think that the problem is that we're centralizing everything. Look, even we claim to have a local governance system. and if you read the Local Governance Act and you look at the structure we have, it's a very beautiful structure. People come from elsewhere to come and learn from us what we have. But we don't make our local governance structure work so that Ashedu Keteke will collect property rates and everything else. He has to send it to a certain central location.
Right. Before it will be disbursed.
Good. So if I'm paying property rate, my house has been valued. I have a 2-bedroom, semi-detached compound. It's been valued. I pay property rate. Another person pays. We all pay. The money is gathered. And yet the road that leads to our home is not good. The money I paid, what was it used for?
Exactly.
Because we pay those things to ensure that. So I had a very difficult grandfather who paid for his assignment. Says, look, I'm not going to pay. And the folks didn't come for it. He said, I'm not going to pay because the road to my house is bad. I'm not getting water supply. The electricity is not working. There's nothing working. So you're just taking money. There's no security, nothing.
I think that's also where the problem with the collection of the revenue even comes. The reasons and the excuses that people give tend to be tangible. Like your grandfather is saying, if my road has not been fixed, my water is not being supplied, my electricity, I seem to be my own government because I'm doing everything for myself.
Why do I pay?
Then what rights do you have to come for it? And I think that's where GRA and some of these tax collection issues come up. And also the personnel, where people go and take it and put it in their own pockets. There's no accountability for it. And that's where we want to see punishments as well. That, they have to address the system that there is a challenge of revenue collection. But when we collect it and it goes into the wrong pockets, who suffers for that as well? Does it just become news and we forget about it?
This challenge of revenue collection, I think that we don't want to collect the money. Look, if you're broke and someone owes you, what do?
You collect the money.
You go and collect it.
You collect the money.
That's all.
But you see, right.
Is a fact that there are no people to do that. Is it an excuse?
No, it is not. It right. I say that. And I'm looking for a day when I'm looking for a day when our districts will be fully computerized. Right. You know what happens? When you have like a team come around collecting money, property rate, house to house, and perhaps issuing warning notes and all of that, they collect it. Maybe 2-3 months time, that team is transferred, another team comes in, and they start afresh. Right. The records can't be even there. Sometimes I've had occasion where we've paid property rate, and another team comes demanding for property rate. We pulled out the receipt, and they were so oblivious, they didn't have records to show that we had already paid. So there's no computerized system. Number 2, which is what gives people the space to even cut their own receipts and put into the system.
Exactly.
Because if it comes to you and it gives you a receipt with the local assemblies or the district assemblies logo on it, how are you to authenticate that it's wrong or is not right?
I'm saying that if
people collect these monies and put in their pocket. Look, when the mid-year budget review was on, Alfred had a female guest here who said she was a Makala market woman. She made a categorical statement, and I have not seen AMA, LADMA, LECMA, anybody take action on it. She said, she's from the market, she said there are 2 types of tickets that they take every morning. The first one goes to the assembly. The second one is lesser in value, and it goes into somebody's pocket.
And the receipt is fake.
And the receipt is fake. This is a
very... And the assemblies are aware.
They are aware. If there are 4,000 market women there, and the state is getting 1 CD from every one of them every day, and then subsequently in the evening, somebody is getting 50% from them every day. That's how far the state is getting tax-free, stealing from the state. In the name of the state, nobody is concerned.
Why wouldn't you move in to clamp down on something like this?
I don't know.
Where you'd make revenue than create new taxes.
Haji Alima Mahama, local government minister. You see, assalamu alaikum. Good morning to you. This is right under your purview. Hajia, good morning to you. We haven't heard from you in a while. This is a categorical one. Your friends at the local government ministry, there's an allegation. You care to investigate? Good morning, madam.
The whole thing is that, look, I would not, for instance, support government continuously giving assemblies like AMA, KMA, TMA, and the rest funding from the state.
I agree.
Yes, because you see, because they know the money will come, they just go and sleep.
Right.
I agree.
But if they know that they will need to find their own money to operate, I think they will be active.
I agree.
Look, when you are driving, sometime during the day, you see this EMA guards in black and white.
Right.
They're chasing commercial drivers for, I think there's a levy.
The city guard,
city guard. So I said, why do you waste their time chasing these commercial drivers? why don't you get DVLA to charge that fee when they come at source?
Yeah.
So that you don't have to put these guys on the street chasing them.
Then you can get the gas to go into the market
and do other things. You see, so once the central government is funding certain assemblies, and I mean certain assemblies, there are others who don't make revenue at all. They don't have it. They only depend on markets and a few things. So central government should. But AMA, central government money. Why?
But right, you know the irony of the situation. AMA, for example, LADMA, for example, all those people, KMA and the rest.
Now we have Ablekum and the rest.
Yes, they rather get a bigger chunk of the common fund. You know why? Because they think that they collect more, and so government thinks that it must give them more. But if you go to LADMA, for example, there's La Palme there. There's Labadi Beach Hotel there. There's a trade fair there. There are plenty commercial entities there. If they were collecting property rate from them, property rate, business operation permits from them because the local assembly is collected, just these two are enough to take care of the local assembly.
Yesterday,
go to Accra Central, for example. List the hotels there: Kempinski, Movenpick, National Theatre, British Council, name
all
them.
Of them should pay.
Bank of Ghana, all of them. Just collect property rate from those people and business operation permit and see if they will survive.
So that's it.
So why take money from them when you go to Obuasi, Akroche, or Adansi? Go and look at the roads. But the people are very impoverished, and yet they bring us all the gold.
There was a group from the Kantamanso Municipal Assembly that yesterday was said they had petitioned the senior minister. The reason is that they are paying the group of residents, they are paying their property rate, but all the big companies within the free zones enclave are not paying property rate. I hear the case is being taken to court, and the court has ruled that under the Free Zones Act, these companies must still pay property rate. And yet, we're told, that is an allegation that the Free Zones Board has asked them not to pay. Okay, the Kantamanso Assembly is trying to get these companies to pay, but according to the group, the Free Zones Board has asked them not to pay. Well, the group said attempts were made to, and this is an old thing, it was there under the previous government that those companies won't pay. The new government under Mr. Befi, the man in charge of the free zone, came to meet it. Okay, and clearly, I mean, what is shocking is that a competent court has ruled that companies within the free zones must pay, and yet they are not paying.
Well, I mean,
why are they paying? Because no one will punish them for it.
If the local assembly is aware of the judgment and they know what it is, they should go to court.
They have actually served these companies with the judgment that, hey, this is the judgment, so you have to pay.
So they should go to court.
The companies are relying on the Free Zones Act that says that
they should go to court and activate their rights there. If the court has ruled that they need to pay, go to the court and tell them, look, they are disobeying your order. Let's charge them for contempt.
So once central government takes a look at these assemblies that can fund themselves and pull out from funding them, they will wake up.
Hajia, good morning to you. Hajia Halima Mahama, local government minister. This one, it is for you. Good morning, Hajia. We like you, but we want you to look into this basket proper.
Anyway, it's time for us to rant, and we're talking about the 94 MPs who have tendered their signature to support Mr. Johnny, be careful. I know why you're laughing. Your friend who says it was an attendance list, but that's his own fault, and so it's fine. But let's step out and see what you have to say for those 94 MPs who have pledged to support Mr. Mahama as he goes on to be the flag bearer for the NDC. Whether he'll get that from the grassroots is up to you to decide. Let's find out.
For the opposition NDC. One of them, Dr. Clement Apak, says 94 of his colleagues are ready to support former President John Dramani Mahama should he decide to contest for the presidential primaries of the party. Mind you, there are others who have also declared their intention to contest for the presidential primaries. This morning on Daily Rant with me, Eric Yewode, we want to find out whether the former president, John Dramani Mahama, will be a good choice for the party heading into the 2020 general elections. This is your Daily Rant.
me say NDC say lose bi it is a losing candidate na Mosambe man endorsement the Nabasadia. It is a good news. Now I am even surprised. Say Oshe Margina Mahama, His Excellency Odi Lucy, and now first term near Mount Ganganchuan defeat sir. Now all these MPs are endorsing me. Say if they are happy with the defeat and they want him to come and face another defeat, they are fine. They should continue to endorse. No more or more equal or more Santoman pa no onya endorsement in a big time, so that all money defeat no. Now I endorse to defeat no so. Now a big time. Because I don't see the new thing. His Excellency your neighbor on board. Oh, he has disappointed this party big time. And it looks like he's also their best arsenal.
I made it here before. When you want to on Penny Mahama and about pay, no one come to Abarintia. I said, be a worker from Mahama who be no, and they are doing the West Athens. You're gonna have it. What's on Penny Mahama? How about we celebrate on fine young Puntima, on fine Yashi, Wakasa, here at Oba Benjamin in less than 2 years. Busi ahina wabo over 32 billion as a business that no wadi maybe somebody at here open for some point at the kupa but wakade and another dank for the why if Mahama are willing this all be hey my brother me support 100%. Let me not on any yemo because nakasa I'm not or shock I can't but slow me yeah mama can control well ya where there some Mahama a pa so obeti ase woma ende yanto aba opa wanjuntu nende yanto aba Ghanaians want to aba bi wonde dem Mahama ni akufo adoni yanto aba ne hwade Mahama no, 4 years, but I remember you are doing the about 3 hours, Professor Maris, 4 years ago. It's not Ghana for the mentality there, and this day 8 years. That is the reason why Ghana for the year, this is son, and this man. Now, if you so much I can say, and smack a sea, and I don't go for the number whom you okay. Not Ghana for him there, and how will be they will buy a DB different, but what we have at the yellow.
Our wide dream, if you there a MP before show their mamma.
Hi, sir, and there, some many, some I go for the jet, won't win near Shadi. Mobisi.
What dim kugu na mishia obi no bisa me say na mema Mahama mra na edien na mehwehwe na mishio se bia opese ye box site your Sunday more than half ema ni nua be ma dia obetima san ma no se wo ye nurse ni na opese allowance si osan ba na osan betwemu a so opese osan ba na obeka che se free secondary school ye ntwen ansa da chimbi ato aso a wo ye teacher ni na allowance opese osan ba gia Otie nsem ni nyina no se Africa na me hu se kura bo Mahama kwapo ni se soso no sokora na me se eni se wo soso no sokora.
Some have said that Ghana witnessed unprecedented infrastructure development. Yes. I mean medley of them. Masa
nyabotre. Eye me ya say you want me to use Mahama ne tenura the whole term no. Na 1.5 years of Nanado administration na my comparison. Na mpuno wo de mamemfa wo se oye infrastructure mini oti hei se western region onu ankasa ne regional chairman mpo under Mahama adwuma oye nyina road contracts nya wo mantua ne ka on record ye ba ban mu na ode ne krata ba ebe pesik oh na original chairman de bia ode ne krata ba obe pesik the point I want to tell you no say uka massive infrastructure develop say wa jakana to buburu dia obai no afi no hwehwe skadi tia contractors nyina aka we na si yan sisi moka ne go no bi ba betua de hwan ntimi nya bi
aka wa he enim da contract ho contract mo ti bia no what the contract more and the contract more no to scale no that wadamo what to be ewia
raise the certificate
yes I read the certificate na aba
me si onipa no onu ankasa ti aban mu a oye na dwuma mpa obo na dwuma
all the state resources at his disposal
enu kura no ne loss no enye marginal eye matenam du be say ganganchuan loss all the resources look at the defeater na sesia onenam mfichire ni ade ne party for kura kwasi bo report so hu bi party atete apansa we
bia wonyina kwa ba oye MP before se there we do ncho certain governments are we do ncho them no why do you want to bring him back
on America de ho hwe no kwala ho ekro say e kan kasefin eshe unyanku bia roba accusing adibi let's our eba let's eba the western what Mahama you corrupt na yem fa na yem papa mu na ye wi a yem bisa da sisi Akufo-Addo His Excellency ono ne Mahama hwana you corrupt Akufo-Addo na gasa ne body kwesi nyantachi na ende ore kade Akufo-Addo shenu kutokum yo okọ waka o mama kan kwasa nyam na meka meboa mebra oh meboa mama kasa you see they allow yeah got in the studio yeah you feel they are okay oh meboa aso me kada meboa mebra oh meboa me corruption na one by one me ya chiro cash for seat abasan wensi where hu den ana au kaja na meboa boss abasan so see ehun enti me yele Canada hu kasa anade akohwisema nkofi wodi to Muhammad no Akufo-Addo be no all ye times 10 nti wa Ghana fo hu da na eyi no wa kada Muhammad today ya ebe Ameri car power wakafa be what's hey want to be that na ke ye pay ya na hydro yala enya Ameri ya na yen wakaka sanity 15 years ya Ghana ya sanso ko baka bebe ya ehun nti dem nema na Muhammad ya ni hina no ende aka no was wabe ki odum so
Bisa me a simple question.
Mahama.
Oban wa be den. On can't tell me so Oban wa be stop free secondary school na. And Oban allowances wa be japa.
Stop free secondary school.
And Oban so be onu be see factories in
the history of NPP. Secondary schools we see one point kan hoda. Mahama hu here there. Free SHS no onye NPP one policy. Oya yan constitution mandate there mribi bodura. Yan secondary school no obey free.
Mahama's legacies are very good.
Of course, yes. Very, very fantastic, my brother. So the coming back of Mahama, me myself, I endorse it. And I know for sure Mahama is going to win. And even if these people will accept it, one my year poor but end there. Some brothers just won't throw their one your opinion, poor but end there. I'm gonna endorse Washa, we endorse Mahama. No, I mean, honey again. Because one, this is Ghana, how be all the comparison, Biano, or a comparison, or yeah, Mahama, Akufo-Addo. And I'm a boy. It's the NDC. You go to different candidates to be crowned as Oba. The main candidate is Oba. Oba use Mahama and legacy. Nyama Mahama ye do. Now original the campaign. And how come the Nipanaka or yard and or not us Maraba? Young man, I couldn't mind Omba.
Me say, Meniaji. MPC. Omo endoso Mahama. And I make us only Panaka say, Otia Belgium. And you mentioned who is here in Ampuno. Defeat. Let me say they have not fully recovered. Now almost like Kukuru na ba. Nka ya sem papa. Ena me bisa say, the obi bisa say Oba no abeye den. What is he coming to continue? Then Oba bi ma first one went man ya. Oni ma sem bi. We yankwala bri yamranti birim kakra no. Na abranti bi. No nya abayo bi. Na oni abayo no call them. Onena kodawa nyum anadwo ahomachine oni nenam pana se titi ceiling si ni ade ave ade achi abayo na sori a wahye natade a make so ntima anya hwe oko si o sister mesrewa on ban me kakra ne ade was nonsense me beda ha na dwuni nyina obeye de we sabe pepe na ye Mahama wo ye di abanwa no ma wo a unya atumi no wani su adi hunu ade obi ka se we ne si mani so no na wo de wu ye say you same boat na wo ye say e de big keke o le sa wa kodi nkugu awi a afeni wani abre basa tumuda
Mike, you uncle told you, Mama can Mike, you uncle told you, brother. Mama can do one.
Careful 1 minute, Mike.
Minute that. Something to that. Meant to that. And some people came from Mahama who be through some coffee, some but you can. You see, what can you when you be and there was a special prosecutor Martin Amidu. O question of vetting committee, I was not okay. As in someone can be a mere our perception. Oh yeah, in front of whom there, Benini be or the Besabia could then want to my actually adding us and hag him cacra. And who Besabia so well could jai Benini be? Well, jai, Nukun, Moka Wako well being Fuma, if you are Mudafa Adam ya, or Dadam you, Mudafa Jamara, Jimia, Ehumida, Ma, and the near man can Nukunda no. Oh, man, can
you advise Mahama to come back?
Advise Mahama to come back because all the comparisons we are comparing Mahama and Akufo-Addo. And Ghanaians have tested Akufo-Addo, Ghanaians have tested Mahama, and Ghanaians have got to know that the angel of Ghana is President Mahama. And Mahama is coming back. And that is why these people are now afraid.
Minia, Medasi, what I say, Mitimikasa. Minia, 1.5 years. Penny. Or they compare 4 years. Even 1.5 years secret, work or secret.
1.5 years.
Now more it took you 8 years. Most say policies be over practically impossible. Will be the 1.5 years. Or really a lot of policies. Trying at the end of the 4 years, no will be who the TM. If
Agrubedo fracas. Obi the 8 years. Obi the 8 years. And Obi the 8 years. What say 87 billion? Out of 87 billion. One year cry. I'm now in the middle. I am free to a wire. Axim Junction to a Lubo one wire. 1 year cry your Casson interchange. Your what do you call it? Second interchange. Dubai. Infrastructure I can say. In less than 2 years. Take the 2 billion, almost half of Nipponi 8 million economy. About the Panodia.
Regional chairman.
About the Modia.
They can't why you know you Tianica.
About the
Mayor Economy Bema Oni Onifika. Messi,
well, the coming days will determine whether the National Democratic Congress will be making a good choice if they decide to go and pick the former President John Dramani Mahama as their presidential candidate going into the 2020 general elections. You can also go onto our various social media platforms and post your comments there. This has been your daily rant with me, Eric Yewoje, from Takrade in the Western region.
Welcome back. Now, you have seen the front pages. MPs blackmail to endorse Mahama Daily Guide. Paperless port boost Javier Media import revenue. 13.2% rise in port revenue. That's the finder. Government probes police shooting. That's the Aswasi issue, the Ghanaian Times. And the Daily Graphic puts it, the cost of borrowing has dropped. That's on the Daily Graphic. But I'll tell you who my guests are quickly, but let's take a look at the Daily Guide this morning. The front one here, MPs blackmail to endorse Mahama. That's the story. And we'll quickly speak to one of the MPs, an MP for UYO, Honorable Joseph Nabu has just joined me on the phone lines. But let me quickly let you know, Honorable Abu, that my guests in the studio, I have MP for Bongo, Honorable Edward Bauer here, and the Deputy Minister of Youth and Sport, the reinstated Deputy Minister of Youth and Sports, Pius Enam Hajide is also here. Good morning, Honorable, and thanks so much for your time.
Yeah, good morning. How are you?
I am good. I hope you are good too.
Yeah, I'm fine.
Right. So you signed this document?
I never signed any document. I did not sign any document. I am very surprised to see it on the social media that I am deceived to endorse former President Mahama. I did not endorse it, please. They came to me that I should endorse former President Mahama, and I told them no. Didn't they know that I'm supporting Honorable Gbagbe? That is what I said. And they left. So I never signed any paper endorsing the former President Mahama. I can only sign a paper to endorse President Mahama when we go to Congress and he emerges as the flag bearer of MDC. That one day I will support him with all my strength and everything. But I never endorsed that paper. But let me put this on record. After they came to me, which I rejected not to sign, and I did not resign, I have to be categorical to say that. I didn't endorse it. It's false. Now, they brought it to the floor of Parliament. And normally, we normally, or the leadership of the party normally try to check MPs that are on the floor of Parliament for the debate. So it was during such a period that this paper was circulating. So a lot of MPs thought that it is normal checking of the number of MPs on the floor. That is all. But later on, it turned out to be that they've used it to endorse former President Mahama. That is my problem with it.
I see.
And a lot of MPs came to me. Some went to Honorable Gbagbe and told us that, look, we didn't know that the signature that we appended our our signature on the paper. We didn't know that they were going to use it as an endorsement for the former President Mahama. But I wouldn't like to mention it because a lot of them they want to be seen.
I see. So you have not said anywhere that you signed a document thinking...
No. Even yesterday, if you listen to me and Asampa FM station, Honorable John Jirapa was on the line. He even said they brought it to me and I refused to sign. He said it.
So the document was brought to you, but you refused to sign it.
I refused to sign. What they made it clear to me that they want MPs who are to endorse former President Mahama. That's what they said, and I refuse. I even jokingly said that, oh, do you have ask blocks in your ears? Don't you know that I'm supporting Bambin? That's what I said.
I see. And you have suggested that if former President Mahama is elected to lead the party, you would give him your support. But for now,
of course,
you have a choice for...
Okay,
you have a choice for who leads the NDC.
Yes, but currently I am supporting Honorable Babin, second Deputy Speaker of Parliament. And I know I have my personal reason for supporting him, right?
I'm grateful. We'll leave it here. Member of Parliament for you there in the Northern Region, Joseph Nabu there, and talking to us on the phone. We're saying on this story because the Daily Guide is reporting that the camp of former President Mahama has adopted a rather cunning method of procuring endorsement from NDC members of Parliament for him in the lead up to the flag bearership contest. That's the story on the Guide. Honorable Edward, let me start this conversation. Why is the former president's camp using this method to get MPs to sign on to his support?
Thank you very much. Good morning to your viewers. Let me greet the good people of Bongo and the whole of Upper East. Let me put it this way. First and foremost, let's agree that per our constitution, as the NDC's constitution, we definitely will be electing a flag bearer by the close of this year because we're in opposition. We're supposed to do 2 clear years before the general elections. So definitely we will have a flag bearer this year. Let's not also pretend that there have been movements around to see who leads the party behind the scenes. Because officially, the party has not given us a guidelines as to when to commence campaign and other things. And therefore, you need to respect the rules and guidelines of the party. It is also equally true, and this is not a secret, that within Parliament, there's a caucus that is working to ensure, or maybe to ensure that should President John Mahama finally declare his intention to contest, that people will be there to support him. And indeed, this is a group that is even encouraging him to contest. As a group, we took a decision that, look, we were going to go on recess. And because we're going to go on recess, we're not too sure when the guidelines were going to come out. If we could get, as members of that group, and the group is known as MPs for John Mahama. And if we could get people to consent that, look,
by way of signing
that, what do you call it, they would support the candidature of John Mahama if he decided to contest. So personally, I, as Edward Bauer, actually that form was developed in my office by my research assistant. Indeed, that form, I have been going around asking for people's signatures.
So you're in charge of that?
I'm in charge of it. As I speak to you now, it is in my car. Indeed, the truth of the matter is that there's no way anybody could have signed that document without knowing exactly what was in the document. Because the caption is Members of Parliament for John Mahama 2020. So it is clear, and luckily enough, at least I know that for the 106 MPs in the minority, everybody is illiterate and can read. And therefore, before we give it to you, we put it before, we let you see it. Indeed, these are people I have attended meetings with over the period of time, and therefore I give them that thing to sign. So first and foremost, let me state clearly, nobody was strict to sign any document. 2, everybody in Parliament knows that Honorable Joseph Nabu supports the possible candidature, because nobody has actually picked a form yet, the possible candidature of the second deputy speaker. Everybody knows in Parliament that Honorable Koshiga supports the candidature of Professor Joshua Alabi. Indeed, I had even taken the pain to, and I joke with Koshiga on these things, and I tell him that, look, you, by the close of nomination for this, you would have been a JM person. I've always been making, and because this is supposed to be a healthy contest within us. I want to state clearly that, one, nobody is being blackmailed. Two, Nabu has not signed. So if there's, and I'm happy he has said that he has not signed. Three, I have not given a form to Nabu to sign. Indeed, the person who came close to signing, not came close to signing, came and took the form, was Koshiga. He came to my seat and sat by me and said he wanted to sign. I said, Koshiga, you used to be the propaganda secretary of the party. If you sign this document, I know you're going to play propaganda with it. I know you are not. If you want to be the member, I want to see you on television or on radio declaring your support for John Mahama before I give you this form to sign. Because it was basically based on jokes, because we joke with each other. So he's the only one who came close to signing, holding the document. So for Nabu to indicate that people mistook that document for attendance sheet, which is, strictly speaking, attendance sheet is always at the mails room. It is not on the floor of Parliament. So for him to say that they mistook that form for attendance sheet is something unfortunate. But that being said, look, I need to make this point. I am very convinced that on any day, His Excellency the former president will win the presidential primaries of the NDC. But that is not what, as NDC, that is not our ultimate target. We do know that all the people who we have heard are interested in contesting, whether it's the first deputy speaker, Honorable Albert Babin, Professor Joshua Lavi, or Sylvester Mensah. These are very competent people. People who, on their own right, can lead this country and lead this country very well. Our point as a group is that at this time, we think that among them, John Mahama is the primus inter pares. He's the best amongst them, based on our own considerations. But there's no way or anything that we have the slightest of doubt that they don't have the capacity. But you see, in life, everything there's a timing. And we think that the moment we are in, looking at the circumstances around us, we think that our best foot will be John Mahama.
Before I go to party, so you think that what the group is doing isn't dividing the party?
No, this is not a question of dividing the party, because in any case, one thing about political party organizations is about choices. And that is why, even as an MP, for every 4 years, I need to subject myself, both internally and externally, to be decided on. So the act of trying to mobilize for a contest is not out of place. Indeed, if you see this publication, you realize that they didn't source it to anybody, the Daily Post publication. It was not sourced.
Daily Guide.
No, Daily Guide is running its story from the commentary that was done on Daily Post.
Right, okay.
If you look at the Daily Post story, they didn't cite a source. They just said deep throat sources, other things. Because as a group, we are taking a full decision that, look, we want to wait for the guidelines of the party to be published. Let's know that there has been some clearance that we can now go out and campaign. Then on the basis of that, we issue that. And right, I'll tell you this. When the party gives us the opportunity to come out and declare and to start campaigning for this, you will see that 94 you have seen, the number is more than the 94. And so, but as of now...
So more than 94 have signed?
That's the point I'm just trying to make to you.
Do you know the exact number of that?
And I'm not going to disclose that to you. Okay. Because this...
But you're not compelling them to say, you're not blackmailing them.
And I'm saying, let a single person, and I'm on national television, that if I had compelled any individual to sign in favor of endorsing His Excellency the former president, it has not been done.
There are no threats of MPs losing their primaries if they don't agree to...
Look, primaries are to be elected as a parliamentary candidate in any parliamentary primaries is dependent on the constituents who are in the particular constituency.
It is not tied to supporting Mr. Mahama.
No, these are two independent, and indeed, let me make this point. This group is independent of President John Mahama. President John Mahama is not the brain behind this group. It's a voluntary group, groups of people who came together and said, look, we want to do X, Y, Z in support of a possible candidature of His Excellency, the former president.
All right, I'm grateful. Pause. That's the story. The allegations of MPs being blackmailed to support, endorse Mr. Mahama. What could be the impact on the party's fortunes?
Well, thank you very much, Brad. Good morning to you and my colleague here and to our cherished viewers. I feel quite scandalized as a practitioner, as a student of politics this morning, having heard from Honorable Joseph Nabu and having listened to you read portions of the statement, and importantly listening to my dear brother and friend, as it were, collaborate the story as it's making the rounds. And I am at a loss as to why the camp of the former president should be running into such serious difficulties even within his own party as far as retaining leadership of the party is concerned, to the extent that he now employs such Machiavellian strategies of deceit.
He just said it's not true.
Of blackmail. Look, I'm saying to you that I am an ardent student of politics, and my brother knows that. All the days through student activism and all of that, we have been there together. And he doesn't expect me to say that, to take what he says here, that
okay, so
you
don't believe him.
You don't believe me. I mean, I know what I know. You understand what I'm saying? I know what I know. At this level, members of parliament do not do these things without prior consultation with the person. I mean, how can you even say that you don't even know the man is going to file a nomination, but you are preparing a declaration of support for him? I mean, please say to the Marines, you would actually have an idea that the gentleman would pick a form and contest. And so you are preparing the grounds so that when the moment the guidelines in your own words is issued, then you publish your endorsement. So what happens if President Mahama doesn't pick a form? So you have some prior knowledge. No. So these are all things that you do upon consultation. But I'm saying that I am at a loss as to why the former president will be facing such major difficulties about retaining leadership in the NDC, to the extent that he employs such crude, outmoded strategies
I don't know where you are getting.
He says he doesn't. I don't know where you are getting.
Where you are getting this yourself, that the former president is.
If I can finish, the man clearly is in difficulties, and you are trying a scheme to work things out for him, and you have to employ deceit, you have to employ blackmail, you have to employ outright, if you may, compulsion, threatening people, and you yourself just said, and you said jokingly, I don't know how Honorable Richard Kwashiga is supposed to tell what is a serious comment from you or what is a joke. You even tell the man that before you sign the paper, go on radio. That's blackmail. So the newspaper is very right. From the coordinator, he himself says that.
I think he explained it.
That is a joke. But you see, what these are some of the things. When people are busted, and they have Honorable Joseph Nabu, who will come and speak. Okay, Honorable Richard Kwashiga, who believes that he is where he is as a matter of right on his own merit.
That's true.
And so he doesn't feel that he owns his political fortunes to the goodness of former President John Mahama. Okay? They will speak. If you have people like that and they speak and you are busted, then you say, oh, it is a joke. But we all know those ones. But I'm saying to you that the commentary is a clear confirmation that yes, it may not be utterly untrue what is being credited to both Honorable Richard Koshiga and then Honorable Joseph Nabu, and I'm quite scandalized as a student of politics that in this day and age, especially for somebody like the former president, somebody who was the leader in the most recent election, okay, somebody who was president, a lot of his appointees ended up in parliament. My good brother here, Honorable Edward Bawa, served in that government. A lot of the MPs served in President John Mohammed's government. And so, if all through the ground, appointed DCs and all of that. So for you to have that kind of advantage and still face the kind of challenges you are facing tells you that even within your party, people believe that, I mean, people are not impressed with your outright.
Do you think that former President Mahama will not be able to win the race and so will resort
No. I mean, he may win. Of course, if you are resorting to blackmail, deceit, utter compulsion and all of that, you will win. I mean, why not? Okay? But I'm saying to you that ordinarily, if the former president were popular within his party, okay, we will not be seeing these kinds of things. Okay, but I'm saying that the fact that it is now being confirmed that the man, and you know something curious happened even in the last time. President John Mahama within the NDC, President John Mahama contested against himself. Every other person who attempted to contest President John Mahama was hatcheted out. You remember a gentleman in the Denton constituency, the general secretary had to go on national TV. The general secretary of the NDC, Mr. Johnson Asedu Nketia, had to go on national television to describe a member of the NDC who wanted to contest as a madman. And everything was done. The gentleman who sold the nomination forms to the so-called madman in the NDC was sacked from the NDC head office. You understand? All these things were done, and I can go on. All these things were done only to make sure that President Mahama contest only himself. He was unopposed, I mean. Even at the polls, just for endorsements, a lot of the NDC people voted against President John Mahama. A lot of them. And so, even before he won to be flag bearer for the 2016 election, people were not confident in him. Because, you see, at the end of the day, not all NDC people are nation wreckers. Not all NDC people do not mean well for this country. There's a critical mass of people in the NDC who also care about their nation's development, and they are worried that the kind of ineptitude, the kind of incompetence, the kind of corrupt tendencies that were exhibited throughout the 4-year term of His Excellency John Mahama as Vice President, and so on and so forth. They were not impressed that he could be president, and that was clearly manifest in the way they voted during the elections prior to the 2016 election. Now, the man won, prior to the 2012 elections. 2012, okay. Then the man won, he was president.
I hope I have a right of...
quickly, because I don't want us to say
what do you want to reply to? But let me finish.
Okay, you finish.
The man wins, he becomes president, he governs this country. People have seen the wahala that we went through in this country. And so I can understand that for want of a better expression, the more patriotic part of the NDC, they will not want to allow the former President John Mahama to win and contest and become flag bearer and then of the NDC. But having said that, I am saying...
Well, you are not ending this your discussion.
I am saying that, but you took all the time. I am saying that whether John Mahama wins or not, the next election is a foregone conclusion for the NPP. Okay. We are winning the elections on the merits of the numerous far-reaching policies that this NPP government and I can name free HHS, I can name the restoration of allowances, I can name the rebate and reduction in electricity prices, I can name the planting for food and jobs, I can name the one village, one dam. They have started it in Bongo. You should check this. And then I can name the one district, one factory, and so on and so forth. There is no way. If I ask my Bongo man here, Mr. Bongo man, if I ask him to tell me 2 policies that President John Mahama will campaign on when he is elected as flag bearer, I'm sure he will be. All right. He will be taking 1 hour. He can't even find.
I'm grateful.
So
I'm grateful.
a
quick one. Then we'll move on.
I think that I will resist the temptation of wanting to have John Mahama as a subject of discussion. But listening to Pius, you know very clearly that he narrated a story, a scenario, by using different names. A scenario he's very familiar with. Why do I say so? They have just come out of an election. An election where Flagstaff House bullied people. An election where even candidates who were going to contest against
the allegations.
No, I'm coming. I'm coming. An election where people like Intim and co were called. That look, I have given you chairman of Lands Commission. Be content with it. Called Blay, who's not the president, who's not the chairman. I've given you GNPC. Be content with. At that time, they were supporting Alaji Short. When they realized that they couldn't fly, they decided to come and support Blay. We are talking about an election. If you are such a popular person, even within your own party, and you endorse somebody, you don't need money to the tune of over $11 million to be able to turn people around. You don't need, because you remember that there was this accusation that they gave people 5,000 each, every delegate. And there was this gentleman who came and made the point that, look, it was not 5,000, it was 1,005. You saw that in the newspapers. If you take 1,005, and you multiply it by the number of delegates we're talking about, we're talking in the regions of about 10 million.
Oh, what kind of mathematics?
Just to give to people handouts.
What kind of mathematics?
So when you have a scenario that you yourself you are so familiar with, you project it on somebody. In Catholic Church, we call it the sin of projection. You project your weaknesses on another person. I see. But let me make this point and make it very clear.
Quickly, let's move on.
Let me make this.
You see. No, you see, but I was involved in the Blake campaign.
No, I don't need your explanation. Keep it to yourself.
No, you need to learn some of these things.
But you see, let me make a point to you. For NDC, and I'll say this and say it very well, that in us, remember there's a Congress, we have different ideas. In as much as in the primaries, you will have people gravitating towards different candidates. We will do that in civility, we will do that with mutual respect, and we will do that with the aim of ensuring that at the end of the day, the current incompetent government, and we will be talking about some of the things they have been doing, Ghanaians will push them out. That is the ultimate. It is not about the primaries. It's about getting Nana and his government out of power.
Let's talk about the front. Okay, quick.
No. You don't know what is it. Let's go on. What is the point? It was just a right of
1 minute.
You a student leader. When somebody makes something, you have the right of reply. After that, it ends.
In wanting to reply, you introduced another matter. A matter that I was too familiar with because I was involved with the Blake campaign. I'm saying that the Blake campaign was admirable. Mr. Bongo man, after the show, I will take a few minutes to show you.
Okay, so let's do after the show
how creative Mr. Blay was.
So after the program, I will spend the rest.
It was not about the endorsement of anybody. It was not about that.
Gentlemen, I am grateful. Let's move on. The find out this morning says a new Ameri deal inconclusive. The story is that the Deputy Information Minister has told the media that the agreement is inconclusive and government is still in the process of finalizing the agreement. And so the House last week suspended, that's Parliament, suspended consideration of the deal until the Energy Minister delivers 4 critical documents, including a value for money audit on the new deal. And that's what the Deputy Minister tried to explain yesterday, that the deal is inconclusive and that we are yet to see a final one. Honorable Powers, let me start the conversation here. Some have argued that if $510 million wasn't good enough, any deal above $510 million, whether conclusive or inconclusive, is not a deal that they want to support.
Well, I don't want you to behave like the NDC. What they do is to set their own question.
Right.
develop their own marking scheme, mark the script, and as and when they choose, either score the person or fail the person.
Right.
I'll give you a few examples. They create ghost scenarios, and then they give judgment on it, and their value propositions are announced. There is going to be a mid-year review. NDC says that, oh, VAT will be increased. Oh, they say, oh, taxes will be increased. This will be done. They organize the parliamentary caucus, press conference. They create the impression that, oh, they have seen the document, the mid-year review budget. They know that taxes will be increased. What do we find out at the end of the day? The finance minister comes to parliament, nothing close to what the NDC said that they were dealing with. Nothing that the NDC says that they were dealing with is announced by the finance minister. There is vacancy and the appointment of the electoral commissioner. Again, the NDC creates their own ghost commissioners. Deal with it. We are going to be political. We are going to appoint pro-MPP people. We are going to do this. At the end of the day, technical people, some of them coming from within the electoral commission, working them. Commissioner Tete had been working with the electoral commissioner for a long time. Lecturers of the university, Mr. Bosman and co, were brought in. Practitioners, Madam Jenai of the IEA. People whose association with our election management is public record. You understand? And I can go on and on and on. A merry deal. There is no deal. The NDC again pushes along the same line. Oh, there's a deal. Where is the deal? As we speak now, the only Ameri deal that we know is binding on Ghana is the Ameri deal that Mr. Bawa and co superintended. There is no other Ameri deal.
What document is before Parliament?
My brother, I'm saying that there is only one Ameri deal that is binding on Ghana today.
Exactly.
True or false?
That's true.
Yes, there is no other Ameri deal.
In this
and
case,
I'm saying
we are
to
talking
you,
about the renegotiated one before Parliament.
I'm saying to you that there is a process of doing things. The NDC Ameri deal is not before Parliament.
Exactly.
It is out. It went before Parliament. It came out. It is binding on Ghana.
The question is,
okay,
you are not
but I'm saying to you that the NPP, we will never, at the end of the day, bring any deal that is binding on Ghana that is worse than the Ameri deal that the NDC said.
Except our deal are saying that the deal before Parliament is worse than the $510 million.
Well, I'm saying to you that I haven't looked at the deal.
Okay.
But I'm saying to you that the NPP is not the NDC. It may be true or not that there are limitations or difficulties with the deal, or the proposals.
Right.
And they remain proposals. I'm saying that if even it were true, I've not seen I haven't read the document. But right. I've heard commentary, and I know that my brother would run commentary again. Doing what I just described, he will create a ghost deal as though there is a deal binding on Ghana and deal with it. But I'm saying to you that
can we use
by
the
the time
proposal instead of a deal?
But I'm saying to you that why we are in majority in Parliament. In the past, the NDC didn't have the kind of majority that they had, but they pushed things through. There's a proposal before Parliament. Do you know what Parliament has done?
Right.
The committee that is looking at it, a committee made up of majority NPP members. Even if the NDC people boycott Parliament, we can still work. We have the numbers to be able to work. You know what we did? We said that we want better and further particulars. You understand? The NPP Parliament. That's what I'm saying. The NPP dominated Parliament.
Okay.
We are saying that we want better and further particulars. So the minister is right when he says that the deal is not conclusive and cannot be discussed as though it was conclusive. Right. So if you have any challenges with the deal, you can air it, bring it out, but you must find a decorous and the proper channel to which to, unless you want to do politics. But I'm saying to you that whatever they do, we want to listen to what people will say. We want the best deal for Ghana, so that at the end of the day, the deal that will be binding on us as a country, Unlike the NDC, I can assure you, Bright, and take my word, that after all is said and done, the Ameri deal that the MPP will produce, even if there will be an Ameri deal, the Ameri deal that the MPP will produce will be far, far better to the Ghanaian people than what the NDC gave.
Let me ask
and is it not a shame? Is it not an embarrassment from the NDC that they are saying that, well, our deal may have been bad, but yours is even worse. Your deal was bad.
No.
This is I mean, what kind of shamelessness is this? Now at least they are admitting that their deal was bad. Okay? But that this may be worse. But I'm saying to you that we, the Ameri deal that the NPP will produce will not be bad, will be to the interest of the people of Ghana. Why? Well, you finish. I'll come back.
Let me ask you this. We know of the agreement. Okay, let's call it a proposal. That's what you want. Now, ASEP and Co are suggesting that if government, then in opposition, said that 510 was too much, that proposal should not have gone past 510. Is that a legitimate question?
I'm saying to you that all proposals, all commentary on the proposal is welcome. I've said I haven't read the Novation and Amendments Agreement. I haven't read it.
Now you're calling that an agreement.
I haven't read it.
No, it's a proposal.
It's a proposal. It's not an agreement.
Okay.
It's not an agreement. No. It becomes agreement unless you want me to take the powers from Parliament. You know that you are the ones who can make it an agreement, not me.
Right.
Okay? But I'm saying that I don't have a problem if ASEP wants to make inputs. Well, they will feel free to make inputs because they believe that they are dealing with a listening government. So they will make inputs. But I'm saying that the 510 was for how many years? At what condition? What was the O&M, operation and maintenance costs? What were all of those? You have to look at all of those. Yeah. It's not just saying 510. It goes beyond that. Yes. There are other issues for consideration.
Right.
So I'm saying to you that whatever it is, okay, the Ameri deal that the NPP will support
and finally
and it will finally come out from Parliament will be better. But this one that the NDC wants to play politics with, well, we are going to have them have their say, like we did them during the budget. They were talking, oh, there will be increases in VAT, oh, there will be this, there will be this. We sat down and we were laughing at them. You go on a wild goose chase. At the end of the day, the chicken will come home to roost. So, my brother, I now give you the time. You set your own question.
Pius,
you set your own question. Mark it and score yourself. Please. No, you go ahead. Okay. You watch him set his own question, mark it and score himself. Please.
Okay. So, government defense is that what we have put before Parliament is not a conclusive document. And so, let's hold on. That's government's defense.
Can your people zoom this for me, please? Can you zoom this for me? Let the public see this. I'm not too sure whether you can.
Okay, show it to that camera.
Yeah, let me show it to this camera.
Okay.
What is that?
Good. Ghanaians can read it. Novation and Amendment Agreement off, and the rest are down there. Now this one, and I'll explain to you why I'm showcasing.
These are documents from Parliament.
Okay. And these were submitted to us by government. This is the memorandum to Parliament by Honorable Boache Ejako. Good. Thank you very much, boss.
What's the point of this display you just made?
Let me make my point.
I don't understand.
Right.
Okay, please take your.
So what did you do? What is the essence?
Off your microphone.
Okay. Oh, thank you.
So what's the point?
Oh no.
He's coming.
Why?
Okay, please go on.
The man wants to show us he has the document.
No,
that's all.
Right. It is important to state the reason why I had to let them zoom this was the fact that I needed to let people know that the executive had sat down, looked at an agreement, approved it by executive approval, convinced that these were the things that will be good for Ghana, things that will replace the existing Ameri deal to the betterment of Ghanaians, and presented that to Parliament for ratification, because it is an international agreement. And by the Supreme Court ruling, they were bound to bring it to Parliament for approval because it's an international thing. So for somebody to suggest that this was just a proposal in itself is not true.
Why?
So it's not a proposal.
That is what I've just given to you.
Why Parliament cannot reject it?
Oh, no, hold on. That's what I'm saying for ratification.
Okay.
So that's the point.
It is a proposal.
See, so the point I'm just trying to make, and that is why I decided to let people know the caption.
No. Honorable,
can I make my point? Let me give you a pen.
I'm going to put that question to you.
Give you a pen.
But you two, you are interjecting.
No. Just take a pen, take a paper, and write down anything concerning her.
Can Parliament?
Let me make a point.
You allow
yes.
him. I'm going to put that question.
Yes.
I'm going to put that question.
But hold on.
You allow him to.
Please put it.
So it is clear that in the thinking of government, the documents they were bringing to us and the details in that document were things that, if implemented, were going to inure to the benefit of Ghanaians. My second point I want to make is that there's no way that the minority has indicated that, yes, there's an admission of the fact that the marriage deal in itself is bad, but that this is worse off than that one. Nobody has said that. Indeed, we have been very consistent on the decisions we took and the fact that we believe that within the circumstances under which we found ourselves, it was the best deal we could get.
Who owns America?
3, the basis for what we said was not only because of the evaluation made by the government itself, but it was also because there was an independent body, the PricewaterhouseCoopers, who did a value for money audit and came out with the fact that comparing Ameri to other comparable thermal plants, that Ameri was a good deal. They looked at the composite generation tariff, they looked at the capacity tariff, they looked at the installed cost per kilowatt, and they looked at the internal rate of return. And on these 4 various spheres, it came out very clear that Ameri was a very competitive plant, even under the conditions of emergency. That being said, we have also indicated clearly that, look, as a country, if a government comes into power and indicates that even the existing agreement that you have, that agreement, we can even make it better. As an MP representing the people of Bongo, I have no moral right to kick against that. I should support it. If, for example, we are supposed to pay X and now we are paying X minus 1, I should support it because it becomes a savings to the state. So that too, we have been consistent. So in terms of the fact that if you can give a savings,
you have been consistent. We have been consistent.
Now the other point I just noted, you see, you know the story of how the first thing was the Philip Addison's committee. Then later on, they brought the thing to Parliament for decision. Attorney General's opinion about the contract itself, and finally, the final document came as the whole idea of a new company coming in under the guise of innovation and amendment agreement. Now, when they came to Parliament, if you go and look at the order paper, and it's unfortunate I didn't have the order paper with me there. In the order paper in Parliament, one of the things we realized was that they had put it on it that same day, the day we were supposed to, that was on the Thursday. They had brought the documents for us to discuss, and within 2-3 hours, we were supposed to look at the document and approve it, and then go to the floor of the plenary and go and debate it and let it go, like what happened with the concession, because concession was just made for about 2 hours. So when they came, we looked, meanwhile we had seen the document and we had seen that if you look at the fiscals in it, it just didn't make sense. But before we even go into the meat of the thing, there were a few things that we needed to do as per law. So it was not about somebody being majority and somebody being minority. It was about the law. The first one was this. If you look at our Public Financial Management Act, it indicates, the one we passed in 2016, it indicates that if you have any contract that runs more than 1 year, then if you are supposed to approve it in Parliament, there must be a letter of no objection by the Minister of Finance. The reason is because you are committing the state to some financial obligations over a period of time. And the finance minister must be able to state clearly that, look, we are in the position to support this contract. That letter was not there. So Section 33(1) of the Public Financial Management Act was not applied.
You see what I'm saying? Is the finance minister not a member of the executive?
Oh,
so I'm saying
so you need a letter of
okay.
The second point was that this is a contract that is supposed to be binding on Ghana as a party. Article 38 of the Constitution states that the Attorney General is the principal legal advisor to government. So it is only fair that if you have such a contract, you would have given it to the Attorney General to peruse and then also give you his or her legal opinion on the contract. That letter was not.
So you see that the process is still unfolding.
And that's why do you bring it in Parliament?
You see the process is still unfolding.
Third,
you see what I'm saying?
Oh no, what are you saying?
Yes,
the point is I'm saying that you were giving us no.
The process is so. What happens?
Can I make my point?
So what happens if the finance minister brings?
Brad, can you protect me? Please, Brad, can you protect me?
Oh, you need protection.
Yes, I need protection.
After blackmailing people to endorsing John Mahama, you come and sit here and say that you need protection.
Please,
Honorable Joseph Nabu needs protection, not you.
Okay, I hear you. 3. You know that these are tariffs. They were negotiated tariffs according to them, they and the Metalanos. They were negotiated tariffs they were bringing. Tariffs are set up by the PURC. And so when you are coming with either a PPA or whatever you have in terms of power business agreements, you will always need to have an approved PURC tariff. So the tariffs you have that you have negotiated, you take it to PURC for approval. Or else, if Parliament were to say, we have ratified this document, and you go and renegotiate those tariffs, then you would have been altering the decision. If you look at the Mary one, it came with an approved tariff from PURC. PURC was seated in that meeting. The PURC said they have not been giving any figures. And so that letter was calling out there. 4th one, you were bringing a contract that was supposed to suggest clearly that it was better in terms of its fiscals and all the various provisions in it. And therefore, you needed to also give us evidence of that. So you needed a value for money report. That was equally not made to us. Last but not the least, we have Metalanos. We just heard Metalanos. As to what animal it is, nobody knows. Usually when you have situations like this, you will need to give us a due diligence report about the company. So that at the end of the day, we know that this company, the fact that you say it is this, it is that. Then on the basis of that, the National Assembly can then look at it and say, we are convinced based on the reports you have given us, and on the basis of that, we can now go into it. So they were the preliminary objections we had. Okay. But we still gave them an opportunity and said that, go provide those documents for us. But in the meantime, because you are in a hurry, to give us, to get us to sign this document before we rise, we will go into your memorandum and your contract. So we decided to look at the contract. My brother, the Minister of Finance.
You said you go to the memorandum.
Yeah, we did. We looked into it. We looked into this.
Even without.
Yes, we still gave them that between. No. Can I make my point?
This cannot be right.
No. Why? I'm a member of the committee. I am not talking from outside.
Let him wrap up quickly.
Yes.
I'm coming to you.
So we then decided to look into it.
How can you do that?
We then decided to go into the details of it whilst awaiting those documents. Because they wanted time. It looked like they were so much in a hurry. I didn't know what it was. So we said we'd look at it. Now, the Minister of Finance indicates to us, look, I'm coming to Parliament with a particular model that seems to give us some savings. And his savings were that look, if you look at the current Ameri deal, in terms of the average tariff that you have, we are talking about 14.59 kilowatts hour. However, I am going to provide you a deal that tells you that it is 11.714.
Right.
You understand? And so on the basis of that, I'm doing a savings of about 2.8. What he did not address his mind to was that if you look at the PURC document that approved the tariffs for Ameri, it was in twofold. The reason is because Ameri is a build, own, operate and transfer. So it was for 5 years. The BOT was for 5 years. So for 5 years, you needed to ensure that you took out all your capital investments. So you pay for it. And so if you look at the tariff arrangement, there's something we call capital recovery charge that is added to it. And so for the first 5 years, it was supposed to be 14.59, as he said. But from year 6 to year 20, the lifespan of the 1, you will have ownership of the plant. 2, because we have paid off the cost of the plant, the capital recovery charge is no longer applicable for the year 6 to 20 years. And so what it then meant was that the tariff was going to come down. And indeed, the tariff will now come down to 10.4149. Are you getting the point? But he did not address his mind to that and slapped the 14.49 over the period of 20 years or 15 years and said that he was going to make savings. Indeed, based on the scenarios we had made, we came out with the fact that, look, at the end of the 15 years,
Can this sermon come to an end?
He's wrapping up.
I'm wrapping up.
This sermon on the mount, can it come to an end?
Please quickly wrap up and let me get Pius.
Pius. But you say you didn't
know,
so it is also part of your education.
You know, he was a spokesperson in the Ministry of Energy. And so
he has a lot of
he has some apport. So he's preaching. He's preaching.
So, but the point I'm just trying to
wrap up.
So the point I'm just trying to make is that. So on the basis of the scenario, we realize that even if you take out the O&M, you take out what they call the cost of fuel and all the variable costs, you take it out, and just look at the basis of capacity and the capital charge that he had slapped on that, we would be making an extra beyond the 510. We'll be making an extra commitment of $494 million.
So we're paying almost $1 billion. That's what you say.
So $494 million. So if you convert that to the current rate in terms of cedis, we're talking about 2.something billion. So the argument we then made, we asked the Minister of Energy was that, what was the rationale behind this? And see, there's a part that I am worried about, and that's the last part I'm going to just conclude. You see, all executive powers resides in the president, and nobody can contest that. He won an election. The role of cabinet is purely advisory. But there's a reason why the Constitution in its own wisdom decided to have cabinet. The reason being that if you were to bring a proposal, you will have a situation where when you put it before cabinet, you have all shades of ideas, people with different skill sets, and on the basis of that can throw some sunlight on the document and put it under strict scrutiny. And so as much as possible, governments are always encouraged not to go the route of executive approval, because then the people who would have seen the document would have been just limited, and people would not have brought their experience and other things to bear.
Your point is that this
under this current one,
cabinet did not see this document.
Under this, listen, it was not under emergency. We're not under any serious emergency.
You should wait.
The president could have referred this thing to cabinet to look at. Cabinet did not see this document.
Okay.
It came by executive approval, signed by Nana Asante Budietu.
Okay. But Pius, I think you can start the reaction from here, where he's suggesting the cabinet did not see it, AG's input wasn't there. He said PRC was also informed about the tariffs. Maybe you can start from here.
Well, what did I say to you? I said that my brother was going to do this. And so, but I think that this lecture that he has given, and he needs to give it to his NDC communicators. They need this. They need to know, for instance, from what you have said, if the finance minister fails to give a no objection letter, what happens to the process? It is stopped. If the finance minister decides to give a no objection letter, it is much ado about nothing.
So what means that
no. Oh, it doesn't confirm anything. It doesn't confirm anything. You have been holding suspicion since, so it's not a problem. But I'm saying to you that is why I'm saying to you that this is a process that is unfolding. So don't analyze this document as though these rates you are talking about are binding on us, because you are just right saying to me that there are some technical requirements that have not even been
satisfied,
met. Right. So if, for instance, you talk about the finance minister should issue a no objection letter, and you don't have it. So what if the finance minister doesn't give you the no objection letter? What if PR or the attorney general, the legal opinion? What if the legal opinion comes to say to you that this drop this whole thing? Proposal. So I'm saying that you may be engaging in what, to borrow the words of my senior brother Kweku Baku, premature ejaculation. You see, so relax, take your time, and when there is an agreement, an agreement,
you have a situation where a cabinet minister and a sector minister.
No, Honorable. When there is an agreement, right? I give you my word. When there is an agreement that is binding on Ghana, come and let's sit here and let's discuss it. And let's see if you have the face to come and speak to your document.
See,
but there is no agreement. Right. You are forcing to speak to something that doesn't exist.
You have a situation where the president of the Republic.
That is not the issue.
The president of the Republic.
Why do we have a parliament?
Over such shambolic agreement. It questions this what do you call it? The sense of judgment Not only of the minister, but the president himself.
Assuming
it questions his sense of judgment.
No, right.
If
Mr. Bauer,
he can approve, he can give executive approval to this shambolic.
Mr. Bauer, I'm saying to you
mischievous,
listen,
corrupt agreement.
Granted without admitting that what my brother Bauer is saying is true. My brother Bauer should not insult Parliament, lest we cite him for contempt.
Okay.
Parliament was not brought in without thinking.
All right.
You guys, we pay you money. Listen, no, this is important.
I'm on the top of
it. Parliament is.
You have a president who looks through this document and still gives okay to it.
Bauer is MP for Bongo, Deputy Minister of Youth and Sports, Pius Namahajide was my second guest. I'm grateful, gentlemen, for your morning. We couldn't touch on the double SHS. Stay with us, sports.
Yes, always run away from the double SHS. That's what I think.
Welcome back. So it's time for us to talk health, and we're talking about kidney stones. Joining me is DSP Dr. Faisal Ayambila of the police hospital, and he's going to tell us exactly what it is to have a kidney stone, how it's formed, how you'd feel, and where you can get help from. Good morning, Dr.
Good morning,
Faisal.
Mama.
So let's get right into it. Kidney stones. Johnny asked the question in the morning that do people eat stones? And so I'm wondering, people will be wondering if the stones come about from eating stones outside, you know. So let's be clear. Is that how stones come about in the first place?
Okay. So very much as the name suggests, kidney stones are mineral depositions that are formed within the kidney. Indeed, they are stone-like structures, small stones that form as a result of crystallization of minerals within the urine.
Right.
So that's how we form. You know, urine is actually, you know, we have the water component or the fluid component, and we have lots of minerals and then salts in there.
Of course, not minerals like gold.
Not at all.
People you think.
Not at all. Calcium, sodium, you know, all these small minerals. So what happens is when your urine is concentrated, these salts will aggregate and form the stones. The stones are found in the kidney, can be found in the ureters, and all they do is cause a lot of pain. But it's a quite common thing because now 1 out of 20 persons has a kidney stone at least.
Interesting. So how would I know that I have a stone for which I need medical attention for?
Yes, first of all, the first thing you would know is that sometimes if the stone is very small, you would have no symptoms. But what we keep seeing at the hospitals is the fact that people complain about pain. Pain. Some have a dull backache over here. And for some people, they have pain when they're about to urinate because you see, it's a stone. And then the kidneys and the body is trying to push it out. Right. So as it comes through the kidney downwards into the ureters to the bladder, it causes a lot of pain. It also scratches the edges of the ureters. So you can find blood in the urine. And once there's blood in the urine, sometimes you could have an infection as well. So the urine comes out and it has this very foul smell to it. And for some people, they urinate very frequently, urinate like 5 times an hour, 6 times an hour, very small quantities. And all the time they are going to the bathroom. If you have any of these symptoms, chances are you do have a kidney stone.
But what predisposes people to having kidney stones as against other people?
Yes, this is something we would have to discuss very well. I mean, what predisposes a person? The first thing is dehydration. I mean, we all get to work these days at 8 o'clock. You have to sit until 6 o'clock. And you ask someone how much water has he or she drunk, and he'll tell you just a sachet. For some people, they don't even drink water at all. When your urine is concentrated, then all this salt in the urine begins to form the stones in the kidneys. So dehydration. Another problem too is with obesity. Once you start putting on weight, chances are that you will have the stones forming. There's also diabetes, there's hypertension as usual. And also our diet. Eating a lot of meat, chewing plenty kebab, a lot of meat, increasing the protein level within the urine can also predispose you. Eating a lot of salt, all our food has salt these days, a lot of sugar, a lot of fat. And of course, in pregnant women. But all these factors let you know that it's basically our lifestyle that predisposes us to getting these kidney stones.
Okay. Is there a specific preponderance where males get it more than females, or we're both in the same soup?
Oh, when it comes to this one, well, this is one that is more common in males. It's more common in males. And the tendency is for males above the age of 40 to have the kidney stones.
Is there any specific reason why men above 40 are getting it more?
Well, You see, with regards to physiology, well, I'll tone it down a bit for our cherished viewers. With regards to the makeup of human beings, as we begin to age, you begin to get diabetes, you begin to get hypertension. Systems do not work as well as they used to work when you were much younger. So it just tips you closer to having a kidney stone once you are advanced in age.
Okay.
Exactly.
Is there any peculiarity with kidney stones and sickle cell patients? Because we tend to have quite a number of sickle cell patients in our communities as of now, and we're talking a lot about sickle cell these days. Is there any special, you know?
Oh yes, that's a big factor, especially with people who are much younger, in their teens, in their early adulthood. It's very common. Indeed, let's say if out of 10 sickle cell patients, you would see up to about 7 of them would have a kidney stone at some point in their life. So what you've said is exactly the case.
And so necessarily, what makes them, what is in their blood or what is their makeup that makes them more predisposed to having the stones?
Well, you know, sickle cell disease itself, it's, you know, it's a whole syndrome on its own. First of all, the fact that they do not have enough blood is a problem to start with. Secondly, they are almost always dehydrated. And so once dehydration, in the sense that there isn't enough water in the blood, there isn't enough water in the system, therefore there isn't enough water in the urine. And that's the main problem with kidney stones, the fact that your urine is concentrated. And so these salts begin to form small, small stones. Actually, they are stones. And then when the stones lodge in your kidney, it causes pain. When you try to urinate, it causes pain. And so for people with sickle cell disease, it's the dehydration. The same for CEOs and top marketing executives who have to sit all day in long meetings. Well, the message will always be have a bottle of water and drink so you can prevent this from occurring.
Exactly. You talk about having a bottle of water to drink, but is a bottle of water just enough? Or when you talk about actual prevention, how much should an adult be drinking in a day?
Okay. Well, then regular adults should not drink less than 3 liters of water a day. And indeed, in the climates as ours, as we find the very humid and warm conditions, especially in this season, we would even advocate for people to drink up to 5 liters if it's possible. People go like, oh, doctor, why so much water? But once you have a glass at a time and you keep doing it bit by bit, you realize that exactly. And then within 24 hours, you might have covered the required amount of water. Because once you get dehydrated, these stones easily form.
But Faisal, in our community, I think viewers will be wondering, why is it so important for us as Ghanaians to drink more water than a normal person would?
Well, let's say us as Ghanaians, as you mentioned, today, for example, weather forecast puts the temperatures about 33 degrees Celsius in the high heat. That only shows you that we sweat more. We sweat more, so we lose more water than someone, let's say some people that live in another part of the world. So the tendency is for us to get more dehydrated. And so you can prevent a lot of medical conditions just by making sure that your system has enough water.
But someone is worried about the fact that, well, they sit in the air conditioner throughout the day, and so are they losing as much water as you say they are? And also with our urinal facilities, someone is worried that the more I drink water, the more I have to urinate.
Exactly.
And because I don't want to be getting up from my desk all the time, what do I do?
Well, it's a sad story, especially with the urinal systems. Even some offices indeed do not have a place of convenience. But you know, there's always a trade-off. There's always a trade-off. Even if you wouldn't be drinking as much as the 5 liters we advocate, you probably could do about 1.5 liters to 2 liters before you go home. And then when you go home with your supper and with your late lunch, you can have some more water. Because much as you might be in the air conditioner, for example, you do lose some amount of water. But of course, you would walk to your car and you may take a trip around the compound. So it applies to you as well. I mean, it applies to you and I sitting in air conditioners most of the time.
Very well. So let's talk about the prevention. You mentioned diet, and we have some pictures of the kind of foods people have to eat to try and prevent this.
Yes, so very much it's also lifestyle related. Other risk factors are the fact that, well, it's in your family as well. That could also predispose you. But we are looking at diets. You should take a diet that doesn't have too much salt. You know, we call them the 3 white poisons: sugar, salt, and then flour. Exactly, and not too much cholesterol as well. When you are able to prevent these things, you know, you don't overindulge in taking these things, it reduces the propensity for you to have kidney stones. And also, you wouldn't want to eat too much protein, you know, unless, of course, you're a bodybuilder, you're doing it for some sporting exercise. But if it's just your regular diet, not too much protein. Eat healthy, lots of fruits, lots of vegetables. And increasingly, we are seeing it in people who do white-collar jobs, not just people who are out there in the sun, but persons that have to sit over 8 to 10 hours and in long meetings as well. Another thing we can do too is urinate frequently so that you have to drink more to stay hydrated.
And you literally clear the system.
You clear the system, exactly. And even part of the treatment sometimes is that we tell you to drink lots of water, we give you painkillers, and if it's just a small stone, your system will just, exactly, it will come out by itself.
But that sounds scary. So when I see my kidney stone drop, what do I do?
Well, we have told some of our patients, I believe you know this all too well, that when you are able to visualize that process, you could take it as a sample and have it sent to the lab. Because sometimes it's calcium, sometimes it's uric acid. It tends to be so many other minerals or salts in the body that can cause the kidney stones to form. And so you could bring it to the laboratory for some analysis.
Very well. Finally, if my father or my mother has it, doesn't mean I would necessarily get it.
Well, you know, we've always said these days that you have the genetic potential and then you have your environment. So yes, let's say mom or dad has had problems with kidney stones in the past. So you know this, then you just have to start drinking your water. Mom and dad have been diabetic or have had hypertension in the past or do have hypertension. You would like to prevent these things. You would like to engage in some exercise. So it's not 100% true. Fine, you may have the genetic predisposition, but once you alter your lifestyle, it wouldn't have to be that way for you.
And on that note, we have been talking about kidney stones, its symptoms and prevention, as well as treatment that can be offered if you do have it. But you realize that there is a way to prevent it, so let's all try and start the prevention method so that we don't get to a place where we have it and need treatment for it. I have been speaking to DSP Dr. Faisal Ayambila of the police hospital, our regular guest. He's always willing to come and teach us about some health, so always stay tuned with us on Wednesdays when we do Health for You. But we'll take a break. We'll be back with more here on New Day. Well, with a ban on fishing in place, we spoke to the Minister for Fisheries and Aquaculture, Folekwe, to find out what exactly it means and how the negotiations between themselves and the fishermen has gone. Let's watch this exclusive interview with her.
Nobody here knocking at my door. This is what it feels like. This is what it feels like.
Thank you very much for joining us here on TV3 New Day. Let's get into some fisheries and aquaculture issues. We've been joined by the Minister responsible for the sector, Honorable Elizabeth Ofolekwe. Honorable, good morning. Thank you very much for joining us. You look splendid.
Thank you.
How have you been?
Very well.
How's the ministry doing?
The ministry is doing very well. There are challenges, but we are well able to surmount them.
Yes. At your announcement, the President of the Republic, you know, when he was announcing you as a minister, had a lot of plaudits for you, having worked 2 decades in the ministry. He says you're bringing rich experience and all of that. Is it paying off on the ground? Are we seeing that on the ground?
Yes, it is. It is really paying off. Naturally, I'm a down-to-earth person. I endear myself to people, naturally. And so, though some of our policies may not be naturally acceptable by some people, we have to educate them more to understand the policies so they will accept our policies. There are challenges, but like I said, we are ready to surmount the challenges.
Off the top of your head, top 3 challenges that your ministry is encountering at the moment?
We are trying to implement a management policy, the close season.
Right.
At the moment, there are a group of fishers who do not really agree that we have to implement this policy at this time.
What's their difficulty?
Some are of the view that we have to do this next year. Others are of the view that the month chosen, which is August, the month chosen for this close season is not the right month. We should have chosen another month.
Subsequent month.
Yes.
But you have worked in the ministry for 20 years already. What is it that you know that we don't know, which is why you still would keep on, you know, pushing when the fishers say, no, let's do it next year, 2019?
When the fishers say no, it's not all fishers who are saying no.
Okay.
Yes. I have been from the Western region through to the Central, to Greater Accra, to the Volta region.
Okay.
I have met with fishers. Majority of them agree with us. There are, however, some of them who do not agree. What I have heard is that some of them are saying that the reason why they want us to shift it to next year is because they have gone for some loans, waiting to catch a lot of fish in the bumper season. We are in the bumper season at the moment. And some of the fishers are saying that they've gone for loans. To assess loans too. Yes, to do their business in this peak season. What we are saying is that we are in the bumper season, but you can agree with me that we are not catching enough fish. We don't even feel the bumper catch anymore. For about 20 years running, the bumper season that we had previously is no more there. Fishers have told us that they immerse light into the water because when they go to sea, they don't get enough fish. So they have to immerse the light into the water to the bottom of the sea. Fish is attracted to light. So they use the light to aggregate the fish around the light. And then when they draw up the light, they apply chemicals to the fish, obnoxious chemicals, of course, to the fish. And this kills the fish instantly. Then they scoop the fish.
Everything?
Yes. So we have interacted with fishermen, and this is what they tell us, that they spend a lot of fuel to look for the fish. So fish that they expect to catch within like about an hour or two, they catch even less fish in a whole day. So we listen to the fishermen, and also we listen to them. They tell us that they don't catch enough fish even in the bumper season. At the moment, today, we are within the bumper season, but there's no fish.
But some of the fisher folks have raised concerns that, look, it is not a closed season that will necessarily stop this. Pair trawling, light fishing, which you mentioned, are some of the things that we need to look at to stop, if you like, the depletion of the fish stock in our waters. What do you say?
The closed season is a first step towards the replenishing of our stocks, or the rejuvenation of our stocks. It is not the only way of managing our stocks. There are other forms of management measures that we can apply, but this is a first step.
What else is there?
Yes. A lot of our fishermen are engaging in illegal, unreported and unregulated fishing. There's no pair trawling at the moment in our waters.
There isn't?
Yes.
So why are the fishermen saying there is?
Well, you know, when pair trawling started in Ghana, it's affected a lot of people, and so that has stayed in the minds of people. But at the moment, the vessels that are used for pair trawling are no more in our waters.
They are no more there?
Yes.
You can confirm this?
They are no more in our waters.
How long have they not been on our waters? Do you know?
Exactly the dates I cannot mention now, but they haven't been there since I became a minister.
So but there's light fishing.
There's light fishing. They apply the light because they tell us that they don't get
getting the fish.
Yes.
And it is because their stock is depleted.
Their stock is depleted.
This close season has been on since 2002, if I remember. Why are the farmers raising a lot of red flag fishermen? Raising a lot of red flags this time around? Is there something behind, you know, all these calls? Because if you say their major concerns are that they spend so much fuel in looking for the fish, they can't find them. We're in a bumper season, we can't find the fish. And so then it makes sense to close the season so we're able to replenish the stock. And yet they're complaining. They say they want it in 2019. What would have changed in 2019? What else is there? Have you been investigating? What have you found out?
Yes, we listen to the fishermen. We listen to them a lot. We have listened to them they have told us there are problems when they go to sea, like you have enumerated. They don't get the fish.
Okay.
They use more fuel. And the fish processors also tell us that at this time when they harvest when the fish is brought to them and they process the fish, they find the fish fatty.
Okay.
Also laden with eggs.
Okay.
And when they process the fish loses its shape.
Okay.
Because of the fat.
Right.
As a woman, I get pregnant and I get fatty.
Okay.
So I understand when the fishermen tell me, or the fish processors also tell me, that the fish that is brought to them to process within this bumper season is filled with eggs and it's very fatty. So when they process it, they don't get the shape that they want. Now we align what the fishers tell us with what scientific research has also produced.
Okay.
We have done a lot of research work in our waters. The Norwegians, who are known to be leading fisheries research, were in our waters. In 2016, they were here. And then last year, 2017, the Dr. Fridtjof Nansen vessel was welcomed into the country by His Excellency, the President Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo. And they did a pelagic survey. And the report that we received shows that our stocks have dwindled drastically.
We know what's causing the dwindling because we are always getting it out and we're not replacing it or having any measures. But then if since 2002 we have always had a close season at this time, it looks like the bumper season this year is delayed. Do we know what's causing it? It looks like it's delayed because if we're in a bumper season and we can't seem to have a bumper season and by 7th August we are already closing the season, then something is wrong. Scientifically, what have we found out?
Yes, it has been found out that our stocks have gone down drastically.
How did it go down? Apart from fishing, is it that the fishes are failing to mate? What is it? I'm curious.
Yes, like I'm saying, it's because we have taken the fish and its offsprings. We have consistently over the years harvested the fish with its eggs. We have harvested the fish at the time that the fish is supposed to be breeding. The fish at this time, during June, July, August through to September, are spawning. The majority of them. It is not just within this time that they spawn. There are other spawning seasons, but this is the peak spawning season.
So we need to allow them to do.
Exactly.
Did you say that the fisher folks to go and fish plastics and trade it up? Did you say that?
I heard that in the news. I was so surprised.
What did you say?
What we said, or what I said, was that this even doesn't have a direct relationship with the close season. Before we announced the close season, we had already started under the West Africa Regional Fisheries Project. We had already started setting up plastic pelleting facilities along the coast in selected fishing communities. We are also setting up a salt iodization facilities for the fishers. The reason is that the World Bank, having foreknowledge.
Did you say that they should go fish?
I never said that.
What did you say on that occasion?
That's what I'm explaining now.
We have very little time, which is why I'm trying to get to it quickly.
What I said was that we are setting up these facilities in order to help remove the plastic menace, because it is also proven that fish swallow plastic in the sea and they get choked and die. And also when human beings consume the fish in which there's plastic, the plastic contains some chemicals, arsenic, and it causes arsenic poisoning of the human body. So with all this knowledge, the World Bank, together with my ministry and the Metropolitan, Municipal and District Chief Executives, are setting up plastic pelleting facilities to create jobs. When we came to power, we said we are creating jobs for our people. So if plastic is a menace, it's causing a menace within our coastal areas, then we can set up a facility there to help process.
But you didn't say they should go and collect plastics.
No.
So who threw that out there? I'm curious.
There are people who have their own agenda.
Okay. The president said that you were coming to improve the economic, financial, and social, if you like, makeup of the fisher folks. This will be my final question. This closed season policy will have social, financial, and if you like, economic challenges. The people say this is not good. They say you have lost touch with them, which is why you will not listen to them. The minority in parliament, you're in parliament, of course, they say they agree with the fisher folks, and yet you're going ahead. Are you on the right path?
Yes, we are. The scientific research reports that we have received, and from the recommendations from the scientific and technical working group, shows that in 3 to 5 years, if we do not do anything about replenishing our fish stocks, we'll lose everything. Norway has gone through it, and that's why they are leading fisheries research. So other countries, we are learning from other countries who have also been through dwindling stocks, who have experienced the loss of their stocks entirely, and how they have come out of it. Yes.
And so that's what you're following?
Yes.
But for 2 million people to be affected within this closed season, what do they do?
We are praying that they would understand and bear with us at this time. It is a difficult decision, but because we know the benefits are going to outweigh the pain, sacrificing 1 month and making more, getting more fish in the sea and making more money afterwards, the benefits outweigh the pain.
So they should understand.
So we are praying them. We are praying them that they bear with us. We don't want anybody to go hungry. No, that is not our intention. Our intention is to rather rebuild our stocks. So we have to bear some pain so we can make more money. We have also been told that they've taken some loans, and we know that even at this time, when we expect to get more fish, it is within the, we are still within the bumper season, but there's no fish. So if you have taken a loan, we pray that this 1 month sacrifice will help us catch more fish when the season opens, when fishing opens in September. We'll catch more fish to clear our debts.
I thank you very much. So the Homoa season will be without fish, unfortunately.
There's going to be fish.
You are importing fish?
In July. No, we are not importing fish. We are promoting aquaculture. There's a lot of aquaculture going on. And we have gone around the country to help fish farmers to produce more so that our fishes. And there's also inland fishing. There's also inland fishing. We have our inland waters where we can get some fish on from. The 1 month that
I thank you very much. We're grateful. Honorable Elizabeth Ofulekwe, grateful. She's the Minister for Fisheries and Aquaculture. She's joined us here to have a conversation about the rising concerns regarding the closed season. This is TV3 New Day. Stay with us. I'll be right back after this. Welcome back, and let's wrap up on this one. So, Tilapia has a cartoon for us. That's free SHS double intake Wahala, and that's a baby caught. Free SHS double track system. 3 students in there, 4 months in, and that's the president. Obviously, he has 3 hands, and it says 4 months out. So these guys are finished eating. They have been eating our tax and the Heritage Fund. Okay, Tilapia is officially a bad boy. Wow. What? Okay. So this is a mixture. Ama, you are.
There they are good. So they are in here for 4 months.
Grow.
They grow.
But they look sad to be leaving, and the people in look confused. But we hope it goes out well. Certainly.
But the spoon is big, for children. The spoon is very big. But it's okay. I mean, maybe they'll get satisfied quickly.
But Ghana's most beautiful. Oh, certainly they have to be satisfied quickly because they've got less time, but more contact.
But Ghana's most beautiful is on. It's coming up with a big fat thunder. Last weekend, Friday, Saturday, where Accra auditions kick-started. They went to Tamale yesterday at the Radak Hotel. Tomorrow will be in Takoradi, the oil city. If you haven't registered yet, this is how to do it. Go on to 3news.com. When you go on to 3news, just right up there, okay, you click here, and then you get a chance to register. It's only 50 Ghana cedis to partake, and we're going to Kumasi tomorrow, actually. Tomorrow is Kumasi, so then you select your region of origin. So it could be Greater Accra, Shanti, Northern, You select, so let's say I'm from Tamale, yeah? Oh, no, Ashanti region. Let's say Ashanti region. And then we select, and then you go on and you register, fill in a form nicely. You decide the mode of payment, mobile money, or you want to pay at the location. And then let's see how it goes. Learn your culture, learn your tradition, and be up there.
That's another great moment. GMB always brings smiles because you learn your tradition, you learn culture, you learn things you didn't know about other cultures, and that's the beauty of having GMB on the best station in Ghana. But anyway, guys, it's time for us to wrap up. We'll see them same time tomorrow. It will be midweek and just about weekend for Bright.
Yeah. What would you say, Bright, if Amma went to represent the
Ashanti region?
She could make an impact.
Yeah, you know, it's okay.
I'll try to see if I can coach her to
It's your coaching skills I'm afraid of, but I believe in myself I can do that.
Guys, see you later tomorrow. Have a great one. It's midweek.